This is a cell. This is also a cell. There are different types of cells in different organisms. You also have different types of cells in your own body. I want you to be able to understand what's in a cell and how it relates to the whole organism. The basic unit of matter is the atom. Put two or more atoms together and you have a molecule. Put a few of these molecules together and you end up with a macromolecule, like a protein. If we keep adding molecules and molecules and molecules together, at some point we end up with a cell. Put enough cells together and you get a tissue. Now a tissue is going to be a type of cells like the skin that you have on your hand. Enough types of tissues together, you get an organ. Put enough organs together, you get a full organ system. Put enough organ systems together and you have an organism. The levels of organization for living things are cells, tissues, organs, organ systems, and organism. There are lots of different parts of cells and we're going to talk about only a few of them. Most of these will look familiar to you. We've talked about them before. The ones we're going to talk about today are the cell membrane, the cell wall, the DNA, the nucleus, the ribosomes, the chloroplast, the mitochondria. So the cell membrane is a protective layer to every cell controlling what goes in and out. It's a flexible membrane, a lot like a tea bag. If we were to talk about cell membrane in terms of an analogy, the tea bag is a great analogy because there are some things that go in and some things that go out, just like in a cell membrane. Now, a cell wall is a bit more rigid. This strainer is something I'm going to use as my cell wall. I can see that things go through it, but it also holds its shape, and that's the purpose of the cell wall. It helps a cell hold its shape. All cells have cell membranes. Plants and bacteria have cell walls, animals do not. DNA is the code of life. DNA are the instructions that the cell needs for how to build things and how to do things. DNA is a lot like a cookbook. It has the recipe for what you need to make and you follow the recipe inside the cell. DNA is like a cookbook. Now DNA is very important, so it's going to be kept in a safe location inside the cell. It's kept in the nucleus. The nucleus is like a lockbox. It's deeper inside the cell and it's protected so it won't get damaged. Animal cells have nucleuses, we call those nuclei. Plant cells have nuclei. Bacteria do not have nuclei. Animals have a nucleus, plants have a nucleus, bacteria do not have a nucleus. Ribosomes are like the 3D printer of the cell. They are reading the code that came from the DNA translated into the messenger RNA, and then they are producing proteins. They are protein making machines, a lot like a 3D printer. Now the chloroplast is the little green jelly bean. This guy is the cook in the kitchen. He's making food. He's using the process of photosynthesis to combine carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight to make food, making sugars. Our next friend is the mitochondria. We're calling this one the red jelly bean. This is the one that is processing those sugars. It's taking that food, breaking it down, combining it with oxygen to create little particles, little molecules of ATP, which are like batteries. So you want to think of the mitochondria as the battery maker. It's making batteries to store energy for later. So let's go back to the levels of organization and see how they interact. We've got atoms. Those atoms are put together to make molecules that end up making cells. Those cells are working with your body systems to make you live. Let's put it all together. How are the cells and systems connected? So here we have our digestive system. How is our digestive system related to the activity of the cell? Your digestive system needs to break down food using mitochondria to make ATP. Your lungs are part of your respiratory system. These are the ones that you're breathing in air. That air is necessary to get into those cells that are using the mitochondria to break down food to make ATP to store energy for you. Your heart, this is part of your circulatory system. It is taking the oxygen that came from the lungs and it is putting it through the blood vessels throughout the entire body to get to those cells to give them the oxygen that your mitochondria need in order to create energy from the food that you ate. And then here we have your muscular system. Your muscles are using the ATP from the mitochondria that the mitochondria got from breaking down the food using the oxygen that was brought to them by the circulatory system that was given to it by the respiratory system that came from you. Do you see how they're all connected? Have a great day, guys.